welcome our special speaker tonight. His name's Brandon Lewin, and he's the author. This is a little quick something I'm going to say about him. He's an author, trainer, consultant, entrepreneur, husband, father, and a comedian. Don't ask him to tell you a joke. He's not a clown. Brandon has been helping realtors to increase transactions and decrease time doing non-real estate related activities. So he's going to be doing our presentation tonight on the 5 ways to sell your listing using Instagram. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Brandon Lewin with Lewin Consulting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Heather. Hey guys, well, let me stand inside. How you guys doing? Good. This place is awesome, isn't it? And it's not really that warm out either, so that's even better. Because I'd be sweating through my shirt. So, and that's not a joke, that's serious. Thank you, at least I can constantly laugh from that. So, who has Instagram? Raise your hands. Who's using Instagram on a daily basis?
No.
You look like you use Instagram on a daily basis. Are you an Instagram model too, on the side? All right, no answer is a good answer. All right, keep those hands up. Who uses Instagram on a daily basis? Okay, so like 3 people. All right, good. So everyone's in for a treat today. If we can go to the next slide. All right, so what we're gonna go over here, because we only have really like 20 to 30 minutes, I'm gonna get through some just really quick points. This is gonna help you out. It's gonna be pretty easy. Does anyone not know how to use Instagram at all? Raise my hands. Don't be shy. Okay, that's perfectly fine. This is gonna be a little outside your realm, but we're gonna have another follow-up class. It's gonna get more in the basics in July 16th. And then actually at Stewart Title, we're gonna have a full-out digital marketing masterclass. I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end of it. But this is going to specifically go over 5 ways of how to help to sell your listing using Instagram. So most of this, the top 4, are all organic, and they all kind of work with each other. The last one is how to use it specifically for advertisements. That gets into a little bit more detail, so that one I'm going to get into as much as I possibly can, but that one is just like a class within itself. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be around after I'm done speaking. You guys feel free to come up to me. I won't tell any jokes, but I will tell you a lot about Instagram if you guys have questions, all right? So I'll be here to answer those. So if we can move on to the next slide. We don't have to worry about the gift, because the gift's to me today. Keep going. That is me. You don't need to know about me. Let's keep going. That's my beautiful family and my wife. We moved here from Chicago 3 years ago to escape the cold and come down to the heat. We love it. We're never leaving again. I do a ton of speaking. I've been speaking for a long, long time, and you can see the classrooms don't really change. My beard has. I've grown my beard in finally after 34 years. Keep going. So truth alert, real quickly. Let's go to the next one. Does anyone think Instagram or social media is easy? No, yeah, because it's not. Let's talk about it today with a colleague of mine. It's literally a full-time job. So there are ways to use it effectively and efficiently, and this is one of the ways we're going to talk about it today. So let's go to the next one. So why use Instagram? Anyone not sold on using Instagram? Someone's like, yeah, I don't really, yeah, it's okay. So let's go to, I'm going to persuade you today into telling you why you should do it. First of all, about 42% of U.S. adult users on Instagram make over $72,000 per year. They're more of the affluent people in the United States. Let's go to the next one. 59% of the users are under 30, so between 18 and 29. That means the millennials are really using this quite a bit, which is good because anyone work with millennials? If you don't, you should start thinking about that because they're the groups that's coming up, and they're actually buying some homes too. 33% of U.S. users between the ages of 30 and 49. So 1/3 actually are working class, 30 and above, really prominent people. So you still have that age, and that age group's actually growing really, really fast. So let's keep going. 70% of the U.S. users have a post-secondary education. Why do you need to know that? Well, typically when they have secondary education, that means they're more responsible with their money, which means better credit, which means they have money to save, which means they'll buy a house or invest in a home. So those are all, and that's actually stats that we have researched ourselves as far as doing advertisements. When we target people who have higher education, they're more likely to be a higher quality type of lead to come through. So I'm going to slow down my talk. Go down to the next one. So people on Instagram are active, they have money, and they actually will buy off of people or work with people that they interact with. So if you can get them to follow you or see your advertisements, they will actually reach out to you or contact you in some form. It is proven. So we'll go to the next one. Other ways are very effective, but they're time consuming. We all know that. Door knocking, cold calling, all that stuff can take a lot of time. So using these tools are extremely effective. And it also complements your other lead generation. So if you are doing door knocking or farming or cold calling or just getting referrals, this is a great complement to doing those other offline, more old school kind of approaches. Next one. Okay, so first one, we're going to go into the news feed. Anyone who doesn't know what the news feed is? Okay, so your news feed is that, I don't have my phone, my phone's recording this right now, but when you go onto Instagram, it's the first thing that pops up. It's just all the pictures that come up in the news feed. And right now, there's a bit of an algorithm to it, but it's not as prominent as like Facebook. Facebook has a completely different algorithm where if you're more interactive with it, the more that person will see it. So Facebook, you actually won't see a whole lot of other people's stuff. You might see a lot of like 1 or 5 people that you're friends with if you interact with them a lot. So let's go to the next slide. So this is an actual listing. I pulled this up today. This is a listing. All I did was I went onto Instagram, and you can actually use this on your desktop or on your laptop. And this is the image you'll pull up, but it is predominantly a mobile app. That's really where you can do most of your functions inside of Instagram. So when you use your news feed, if you have a listing, the first thing you want to do is take some really nice pictures. Everyone, safe to say they got really nice pictures for the listings? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
You hear me in the back? All right, because I'm not going to use this because it's getting really loud. If you start falling asleep, though, I'm going to turn around and yell at you. And that'll wake everyone up. So I'm just joking.
Just tell me you're taking your drink tickets back.
Ah, there we go. Then they'll start paying attention. What, huh? There's also going to be a quiz, so we'll give out more drink tickets at the end of this if you get it all right. Just joking.
They're all branded.
So the problem with this is a good example of what not to do. The picture is fantastic. It's not bad to have something like this where you have some images in there, even having your company name and your name and your contact information. The problem is that all they have in the caption is hashtags. It's hashtag after hashtag after hashtag. So people don't really know what to do. So if we go to the next slide, you can see again, great picture. I really love this branding. They have like a fake dog in the yard. It kind of fits with the brand itself. It's wonderful. Just they're missing this. So the problem with the newsfeed is that someone's going to see this. They're going to be captured by the image, but then they're going to try to read and be like, "What the heck is this? I don't know what this place is," and they're going to try to figure out. And what do most people do when they don't figure things out on the internet? Yep, exactly. Move on to the next one. So you got to really capture them, and there's ways of doing that. So if we go on to the next one, I'm going to show you how to capture them. But before that, I'm going to show you the other part, the stories and the IGTV. So stories, does anyone not know what stories are? Okay, I did some blanks there, so I'm just going to assume no one knows that. Yes, stories, let's move on to the next one. Stories are actually more of a newer feature within the last couple years. It's sort of like what Snapchat was doing, where you would look at it and then kind of disappear. And it would be chronological pictures. So this is a perfect example. And if you guys want a good person to model after, there's a woman by her name is GoGo. She goes by GoGo Real Estate. She's an EXP agent. She's out of Michigan, but she's everywhere. She's grown her team. She's like one of the fastest growing EXP agents. I interviewed her, and actually I contacted her through Instagram, and we started talking, and I interviewed her for my podcast, and she's grown her business all through social media, organic. A lot of her business comes through Instagram, actually. And so if you want a good model, she's a great one to go after.
What is her name again?
GoGo, and her username is GoGo Real Estate. It's GoGo Bethke. It's Bethke is her last name. I'll show you how you can listen to the interview later in the later part of this interview. But you can see here what she does is that she has a bunch of pictures that come up, and it's horizontal. And you can put a hashtag. You can even put text in here. But she puts it in her stories, so it's like chronological order. It only stays up for 24 hours. It disappears, but you can really have as many as you want, and you can record videos. So how you use this specifically for your listing is that if you're going out to the listing, you can record a video on your news feed, but the video can only be 60 seconds. It's hard to show an entire house in 60 seconds. Unless you record a video and create it yourself and then put it up there. But if you want to make it easier, you can actually use your stories and take it and just hit down the record button and walk around the house and give people a tour. Basically record for a couple minutes. And so you can record the entire house, you can talk about the different areas, you can snap some photos so people can see the areas that you really want to highlight, and it'll sit there and it'll be up. And it's a great way of really highlighting the different features of a home. For example, she took a picture of the kitchen, she put that in there, she's got the backyard of the house here. There's great ways of using that. Now, the news feed only allows you to put, or the regular posts only allow you to put 60 seconds of video up there. What else you can do is you can actually take and record up to 10 minutes and put it on what they call IGTV. IGTV is the longer form, and if you record it, it's a separate app too, which is kind of funky, but you gotta go on there, you record it on IGTV, and it will automatically link with your regular Instagram account, and it will show up in your news feed, and it will link from your news feed into the IGTV so they can watch the full video. So you can actually record a 10-minute video if you want to, of walking through your listing, showing the house, talking about the different points, and then going ahead and posting it to your page. So it's a great way of kind of bypassing that restriction of 60 seconds. So recording videos, putting up images, put it on your stories. The reason I say stories more so is because most people nowadays are bypassing the news feed because they don't want to scroll through. If you look on your phone, the stories are on the top, and that's where most people go to nowadays. Actually, they will go into the stories and they'll watch people's stories, and it automatically shifts from each person that you follow, and so that way you can get your eyeballs. You get more eyeballs on what you want them to see, and then you can even direct them to like post on your news feed. So this is a great way of utilizing the capabilities that you have and getting more views on this. I find that you get more views on your stories than you get actually on your news feed or your regular posts. So if we can go to the next one.
Was that IG, the TV, is it live or is it recorded?
It's recorded.
Okay.
So you also can go live if you want to in your stories. And you can really record as long as you want on there. So if you want to go live, you can go live and walk people through the house and talk, and it will sit up there for a period of time. You cannot post it directly to your news feed, so people won't be able to see it. They'll only be able to see it in stories. Now this one you can see, this is about 4 minutes and 41 seconds. This part right here is it's just the video on the news feed. It's a regular post. You see it, and as soon as it gets to that 60 seconds, it says continue to watch. It has a button, you click it, and it goes through to IGTV. It redirects people automatically. You don't have to worry about it. It makes life a lot easier for you, and it gives you a longer form piece of content you can put out there for people. This is also a good example of how to create an actual caption and then how to put in hashtags, but we're going to get into that in a second too. So if you also want to model after somebody, follow me on Instagram. All right.
So question,
Yes.
so you have Instagram, you do the IGTV,
Uh-huh.
and then it's clicks a button so then they go.
Yes.
So they don't have to have the IGTV, but
No.
we have to have it to record it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Thank you for asking that question. That was great.
Wait, IGTV is an app?
Huh?
Separate app?
For you, if you're going to record a video on IGTV, yes, you need the IGTV app. All right, move on to the next slide, please. All right, so yeah, it's super easy. It doesn't take long at all. It's not really that big of a deal to try using it. So let's move on to hashtags. Can we go on the next slide? So everyone know what hashtags are?
Yes.
Okay, so Facebook has introduced hashtags. Like people are putting hashtags on Facebook. There's no purpose on Facebook whatsoever for hashtags. You can't really find things. The purpose of a hashtag in Instagram is actually people search for things by using hashtags. So if actually, can you go to the next slide real quickly? If we click through to the next one more, this one.
Okay.
So this one, I just put in the hashtag Austin real estate, and you can see up there's 102,000 posts under that hashtag. And you can go through and play like real estate, hashtag real estate, I think has like 10 million posts. So there's a lot of people that are using these hashtags, and now this is more of a newer feature in the last couple of years. You can actually follow hashtags. So and then how this works is that, for example, if you wanted to find people in locations, if you worked in a specific like neighborhood in Austin, or if you worked in a specific suburb of Austin or a smaller city outside, let's just say like Leander or Cedar Park, you could, or even like Kyle down south, if you want to follow those, you can put in those hashtags and follow them too and see what people are posting. But you can just see that a lot of people are doing that, and they can follow this, and a lot of people do. They follow these hashtags. So it's really important to get more eyeballs. Also, the more hashtags you use, the more followers you get as well, because that's how people find you. They don't necessarily search for you all the time unless you tell them to, but they can search and find you through the hashtag. So it's really important, especially for your listing. So let's go, if we can go back a slide, actually a couple slides.
Really? Back?
Yes.
Okay. I'm doing real good to hit the button, okay?
You just hit the back arrow.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Nope, other
Okay.
way.
This way? This way?
Yep, one more. All
Okay.
right, perfect. So this one is a great one because you can see that they have some really good pictures, and this is a listing, and this is in Terrytown. So what they've done is they've gone in there and they've hashtag Terrytown. They put in hashtag real estate, Austin home, and once you start playing around with hashtags, you're gonna find ones that you're just gonna use more often than others. And especially for a listing, you're gonna have like Austin ATX real estate, which is up here at the top, ATX realtor, and then Terrytown is a good one, just depending on the location, obviously. So using these hashtags, even the area code, I don't know if that's really going to pull up a lot. I've never searched actually by an area code, but I'm assuming if they're using it, there's got to be some merit behind it. But by adding in, when you're creating a post, putting in hashtags is really, really important. So trying to put at least 10 in there will will actually produce enough eyeballs that you will really get this in front of enough people. So use hashtags to your advantage. Let's go on to the next one.
So if you're using a hashtag, I work for Paper Sotheby's, I'm trying to sell a house.
Yeah.
I hashtag other real estate companies, is that
Yeah.
a yay or a nay?
That's not a bad thing, no. I mean, because they're going to have agents who are looking for homes, right?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so absolutely. There's no bad reason for doing that. Honestly, the more eyeballs you can get on it, the better. So let's move on one more. So captions. This is a really big one. Captions is basically what you write in your post. Now, if you can move on to the next slide. This is another really great real estate agent. If you guys want to follow her, she's out in California. She does a lot of luxury property, but her username is Real Estate by Raina. She does some great posts. She has a great way of mixing her listings with personal stuff, which you should always do because it is social media. But this is her listing It's out in, I believe this is in Orange County, or no, Dana Point, California. So it's beautiful. Obviously, you can see that. That's going to grab people's attention. But you can see here, she does a great job. Don't be shy to use emojis. People talk in emojis. It really shows an emotion. So if you can throw in a couple emojis here and there, it's a great way of just capturing the eye and talking in a different way to people. So you can see that the way she's put it in there, she put the price point, she put the location, the address, she put in everything you really need to know about how big it is, how many baths there are. She also, you can see, she highlights the designer in there. Point of all this is that she's highlighting some really good points about the property. She's not just saying, this is a home, this is how much it is, it's 5 bedroom, 3 bath. She's like, that's it, contact me. And she goes into more detail. And you can see, she talks about the award-winning designer, floor-to-ceiling windows. She talks about the details of the home. This is an opportunity for you to really highlight what people are looking for in a listing. They want to see those details. So if you can go to the next one slide, please. All right, so another one, she highlights no HOA. So for some people, that might really stand out. They're gonna be like, wow, this is great, I'm gonna contact her. So the last thing she does here is she does a great call to action. And this is key. Always put in a call to action. Meaning, if you're interested, please DM me or contact me. She puts in her email address, and then she puts in some other hashtags and some information. And this is all pretty much standard. Like if you look at all of her listing posts, which she has quite a bit, she puts the same call to action in there. If you're interested, contact me, schedule a private showing, and then she also puts this part down here as well. So this is important because you can pretty much just have that saved, you can copy it on like a Google Doc, which you can put on your phone. You can copy that and paste it into your post when you create in a post, and just keep on using that over and over again. And it's really, really useful. So the caption itself really needs to talk to people. If you can tell a story. She has a couple in there where she says, you know, this one's good for a home, or good for a family. This might be a good investment property. Highlighting different points that might be prominent or might stick out for people, and just, you know, really nailing down the points of the house. That caption part is where you got to take advantage of it. Okay, so let's move on to the last one. Okay, so this is another one. You can see here, they put in there the square footage, and then perfect for families. Now this has a little bit more detail when you go back up, but it says DM us for more details. And this was actually really a recent one, so it was only 6 minutes ago, like 2 hours ago though. But this is a great call to action, and you can see what I meant by highlighting for families or whomever it may be good for. Putting that in the captions is really, really useful, and it just takes the guesswork out of people, or out of it for people. So let's go on to the next slide. Call to actions. I'm going to nail that. Call to actions. Everything you do should be a call to action. Yes, sir.
Is there any concern with discrimination, or, I mean, because we can't typically say perfect for families or anything like that in our advertising? Is there any issue with that?
I've never seen a problem with that before. I've never heard of anyone getting in trouble for something along those lines. I would possibly run it by your broker though first, and just talk to them. But again, we've done it, and other people have done it, and I see it on Instagram all the time from realtors. So I don't see it as a huge issue. But if you're worried about it, then you can simply just leave it out. Next one, please. Okay, so this is just a quote by David Ogilvy, who's the godfather of advertisements, and it just comes down to it's more important than how you say things. So that caption, again, just nailing down the caption itself is extremely important when you create a listing post on Instagram. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Yes, captions close deals, and so you get coffee. Coffee's for closers. All right. little old school film humor there. All right, so pay to play. Nowadays, you got to pay to play, and it is great to use organic social media. You can get some really good eyeballs on there, but it also is to your benefit if you can put in a little bit of an investment in advertisements. It doesn't take a whole lot to get really good results from this. You can have a budget of simply $100 and actually get a listing and get some good leads. You can go up to $300, $400, $500 for an ad. But this is actually a client of ours in Louisiana, and so funny thing is that we've put up a number of pictures, and this picture seems to just really work well. But this is not a specific listing. It used to be, but we use this actually for more of a buyer ad. But I was just showing this as an example. When you create an advertisement, this is how it's going to look as a preview. It's the picture that really captures people on Instagram, and then the picture, the caption itself isn't that prominent. So people might click through to it, but it's going to be the picture that really grabs them, and then you got to hit them with the call to action button, which is going to be like learn more or book your appointment. There's a couple different ones. Learn more works well. So let's jump to the next slide. All right. Another way of using, so that's just like a simple one picture ad on Instagram. Another great way that we have found to really work well is that actually Instagram allows you to create a slideshow. And this is also the same thing with Facebook, because you can actually get the Instagram ads through Facebook Manager is really where you manage it. But you create a slideshow, so if you have a bunch of homes, you can do up to like 10 pictures, and each picture can last about 2 seconds if you do 10 pictures. The smaller amount of pictures, the longer the picture will last in the slideshow. So you can do like 6 or 8 seconds if you got like a smaller amount of pictures. But creating a slideshow, bless you. Creating a slideshow will allow you to cover different points. And this one specifically, this is an actual listing that we did an advertisement for this, and it worked really well. What we did is actually push them to talk with a person. So you can actually push them to have like a conversation through Facebook Messenger. So you don't even need an Instagram handle anymore, or user or an account anymore to advertise on Instagram. It just goes through your Facebook page if you need to, if you don't have it already. But if you create the slideshow, you can put in a number of images. The images can range from like the kitchen to the front of the house, the backyard, highlighting some of the key points, and then you can throw text over it too to really just show, this is a second bedroom of total 3 bedrooms. You can highlight the kitchen, you can highlight the bathrooms, the master bathroom, and then simply just have them look it through. And the last image is actually just a plain image with a colored background that matches this color, and then it says, contact us for more information on this house, or contact us for a tour of this home. And so, or it says, actually I think it says click through down below to take a tour of the home. So then they know to take this call to action. So this slideshow is actually a really great way of utilizing the power of getting in a target audience. Why I like ads so much is that you can target the specific location, you can target people that are living in that area, you can target people that are coming from out of state who might want to come here and move here, if that's a market that you want to target. So you can really target whomever you want. You take the guesswork out of it, and you allow yourself to have more control, and you get more results from that. He was able to, the agent who ran this at the Hodge team, he was able to actually get an extra 5 new buyers out of this because those people contacted him about this place, and this place was already actually in contract. And so the contract went through, which was good because he had a couple times where it didn't go through. He used this kind of as a backup plan, but through that he got 5 buyers. So he was extremely happy with the outcome, and I believe we actually only put in like $50 into this ad. So talk about a pretty good return on your investments. Getting about 4 good buyers out of $50 is worthwhile. So paying to play is definitely an option and a great option for you to use, especially on Instagram. Again, we see the cost of Instagram ads much lower than Facebook, although both are relatively inexpensive, but it's a great place to just put your listing on there and get in front of a target audience.
But to get to the page to play the ads, it's through Facebook, right?
Yeah. So any advertisement in Instagram or Facebook is always done through Facebook Manager, Ad Manager. It's Manager.
So if we want to do a listing in South Austin, how do we know we're targeting the right audience?
So when you start to go set it up through Facebook Ad Manager,
So through Instagram?
yeah, so when you set it up, it's through Facebook Ad Manager, but you have an option of where the placement is. The placement's going to be Instagram. And so by default, they give you both. They go Facebook and Instagram. You should always do one or the other. Because you're going to see like this is going to look completely different than what it's going to look like on Facebook. So if you're going to set up an ad for Instagram, just do it for Instagram. Set it up that way. But as far as targeting, it's the same thing. You're going to target, South Austin. You're going to put in a location. You could put even like zip codes if you want to, and then you can put a radius if you want to, and then
That's all done on Facebook?
yeah,
Okay,
all that
that's
stuff.
done. Okay.
Okay. So let's move on to the next one. So communication, just finding people in your area and build those relationships. Go on to the next one, and then make sure if you get generating those leads through that, just follow up with them. That's the biggest thing that we find from people, realtors, is that when they're generating these leads using social media or advertisements, the biggest thing is that they don't always follow up the proper way. And there's great ways of doing it actually automatically. You don't have to really put a whole lot of time into it, but I don't have time to go into that specific part of it. I cover it in some of the other talks that we do with Stewart Title. So go on to the next one. Oh, so this is recapping. Go on to the next. It's just going to slide. It has animation, fancy animation, but it forgot the 4 and 5 to be fancy. So we went through these 5 areas. If you follow those across and you just want to make sure that use every outlet. So put it on your news feed, put a great caption on there, hashtag at least 10 hashtags in there, if not more. Put a call to action in there. Make sure you put it on your Instagram stories as well. And then also, just to recap, make sure you use IGTV if you want to do a tour of the house. You can walk through the house for 10 minutes. You can walk through the house and show them everything you possibly want. And then the caption, telling the story, really captivating people, sharing some details about it. And then the last one, using advertisements to your benefit. If you're using all of these different sources on Instagram, I guarantee you're going to get some really good quality leads coming through, wanting to look at your listing and possibly purchasing it too. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, so we can go like next one. Okay, next one. This is all like promotional stuff, which I'm gonna share these slides with you guys as well. So and some more information about Instagram via an email once we get out of here. Since everyone registered, I have all that information, so you'll get all this. You can keep going. So last, this one. This is my podcast. It's the Brandon Loon Show. I know it's an original name, but it can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, all the major podcast platforms. And what I do is I talk all about real estate marketing. I have some really, I had GoGo on there as one of the guests. I have some other prominent people on there from all over the country who have done really great things. I've also done is brought on people who are just starting off. Actually, all walks of life in the real estate, because I believe everyone can learn from other people. So we bring on people on the show and just share different points about that. So it's a great way of just learning something. The shows aren't really that long either. Some of them are like 10 minutes, some of them are half an hour. But it's a great way of just getting some education while you guys are on the go. Keep going. Oh, this is my contact information. If you guys have any questions, like I said, I'm going to stick around here for a while. I'm going to drink as much booze as I can without getting drunk so I can drive home. But I'm going to enjoy myself, hang out with you guys, and if you guys have questions, please come up to me. Also, something I want to highlight is that this is a great, fun way. Grab some of these after maybe you have a couple cocktails or whatever, and take some pictures, put this on your Instagram. This is fun, this is cool, this is different. That'll help you kind of stick out a little bit too, and it'll give you some content to post on there. So take advantage of that. And thank you, Heather, and Stewart Title, and Lone Depot, and Sarah. Thank you so much for letting me, for helping me out here. And thank you all for spending some time with me. I really appreciate you guys. And if you guys have any questions, please just let me know. So with that said, thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.